All right. So our speaker tonight, I've heard her only through YouTube talks. I've never seen her in person, but she blew my mind. She was amazing. She touched my heart, and I'm so grateful that she showed up tonight to share with us. So tonight is Theresa F. And you should be able to unmute yourself, Theresa.
Yep, I sure
And
did. Greg had his fingers up. Is everything all right, Greg? Is everything good? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Theresa. I'm an alcoholic. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be sober because of a loving God. Get to see all these, what they call these squares we got going on, the Brady Bunch thing going on here. Hi. Thank you, Tiffany, for inviting me. Thank you, Meeting, for asking me to participate in my recovery. I'm glad you did a couple of readings and praying. I always have to say this. I was rushing to have my camera off because I was giving mommy something to eat. And I thought about it when I was cooking it. I made shrimp with the tail. My mother has Alzheimer's. So while you guys were talking, she was choking. So I was like, uh-oh, bad idea. Anyway, so I'm glad she's okay now. I knew it was a bad idea when I started cooking it, but anyway, okay, just got through that. Woo! Hot diggity dog. All right, y'all. Even though I'm in my my little area, my little office working area, I'm still uncomfortable, and this is awkward and intimidating and strange. A bunch of people staring at me, even in a camera. So I always have to say that. It just helps me to take the power out of that. It's just awkward. Oh, man. I want to welcome our new friends. Welcome home. Somebody got 30 minutes. I'm not sure if you'll hear anything, but I'm just glad that you're here. Just know that you're in a safe place, at least for the next hour. Just stick with us. Whatever you do, don't sign off. I want to welcome our new friends. Welcome home. We've been praying for you, and we ask you to keep coming back. Don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens, and let us love you so you can learn to love yourself. You may not even understand what all that means, but it's going to be all right. You know, I heard you don't have to take a drink again if you want to, and more importantly, even if you don't want to. And then the old timers in the house, thank you for my life and my sobriety. I'm so glad we don't get that well around here, and that you keep coming back no matter what. Letting me know that I too can recover one day at a time. I don't see the green light around my window, so I'm hoping you can hear me. Normally, if I'm speaking, I see Tiffany's light. But you can hear me? Give me, okay, cool. Oh, diggity dog. All right, folks. I'm going to share in a general way what it used to be like, what happened, and what it's like now. I invite you to listen to similarities and not the differences. And you get to ask yourself questions like, that happened to me. I felt that way too. And most importantly, perhaps this program can work for me. I'm looking to see who I can focus on. Oh, man. I'm going to give you a Reader's Digest, right? Because I certainly can't go through my entire life, but I'll give you a Reader's Digest of what my relationship was like with alcohol before I found you. My sobriety date is March 29, 1990. So I just celebrated a birthday a couple months ago. So, but for the grace of God, I've been with you all for the last 30 years. Pretty crazy. I'm still taking that in. I came to you at the age of 24. I'm now 55. I just had a birthday in July 23rd. I am more present and awake and aware than ever before. This has become the new norm, right? I'm actually sober longer than I was drinking. And so I don't ever want to forget her. I don't ever want to forget my last drunk, because I learned if I do that, I'm bound to repeat it. And God, in his infinite wisdom, I think must truly know his child well enough as to constantly put me in front of all of you so I'll never forget it. Wait, I think that's what that is. Okay. I really believe that's what that's about. Okay. My relationship with alcohol begins in the womb. So I know sometimes we hear people tell their stories And they go, I was born in 1930. But really, I was born addicted. My mother's an alcoholic, an admitted alcoholic in Alcoholics Anonymous. She has 34 years. And so mommy drank and used. And to her, I'm a product of rape. My dad has a different perspective on that situation. And when I was born a preemie, I was born sick and addicted. My mother left me in the hospital, and my grandmother and my father brought me home. And they say that the only thing that stopped me from crying was alcohol. So that's what they gave me. And so I literally been drinking since an infant. My mother set a precedent in the home that a bottle of alcohol was to stay in my mouth 24/7. And the only time it's removed is to refill it. So I literally drank every single day, folks, all day long for 24 years of my life. Now, I learned a lot from the stories of the people in the rooms of perhaps what alcohol was doing to me, what it was doing for me, what it avoided. But if you ask anyone from grammar school to high school, family members, they will all tell you that I was always laughing and smiling, and I was nice, and everything was all good. And that was because I was loaded. I was drunk on my first year birthday, my second year birthday. You see any pictures of me growing up, I always, the smile that you see here, I thought I got it really from AA. But anybody will tell you I've always been smiling like this. And so really the program has taught me to find out what's behind the smile and be honest about that. But I would have broken bones and stuff and still be smiling. And so I drank my whole life. I don't remember when I had a conscious choice to drink. I didn't. Certainly the extracurriculum activities that came later through my progression was a conscious choice, but I never had a conscious choice to drink alcohol. That just was administered me and it was given to me. It ran through my veins. It was my nutrition. I would say I didn't learn about the 4 food groups till I got to Alcoholics Anonymous. I still have issues with eating. I can live on potato chips and chocolate. I'm getting better at that. And so I'm going to sum up the first 24 years of my life. And this is what I came up with to kind of give you a synopsis of what it looked like and what my relationship with alcohol was. And that is, I used adjectives that you guys gave me. I didn't have them before I came here. And that is that you say I come from a dysfunctional family. Well, I don't know about that. I just know that that's my family. And it's been my family till this day. They're pimps, dealers, hustlers, we're mafia, right? Mafia, gangsters, not gangster, mafia, that's different. And then we're also priests, police officers, and politicians. And to me, they're all the same, right? So that's my family. But you call that dysfunctional. That's my family. I grew up half the year in Puerto Rico, half the year in New York. The same thing I saw in Spanish Harlem or in the projects of New York was the same thing I saw going on in the mountains in Puerto Rico. So to me, my alcoholic life was a normal life. It's generations. This is a generational, you're talking about a family disease. This is a generational disease. There are 4 members of my family that I was aware of that was not alcoholic. That was my grandmother, my father, my cousin Petra, and my brother. Nobody liked them. Nobody wanted to be like them. Nobody was excited to see them come into the room. So really, they were the black sheep of the family. We call them black sheep, no? It's interesting enough, they're the ones that I aspired to become in my recovery. The other adjective you guys gave me, I grew up hearing you're stupid, you're an idiot, nobody loves you, you disgust me. The list goes on. And I came here and you guys told me that's called verbal abuse. Well, that's kind of how they talk to me. The other adjective you gave me, I've been kicked, punched, slapped, spit on, burned with cigarettes, poked with knives. My brother shot me in the butt, said he was aiming at the chair. I came here, you guys said that's called physical abuse. No? That's kind of what was happening to me. The other adjective I grew up, I lost my virginity at 5. Men and women took turns with my body sexually. I don't know if I was sold or not. Maybe more will be revealed. And I don't know why it was carte blanche to have sex with me when they felt like it, but they did. And I came here and you guys told me that's called sexual abuse or molestation or something like that. No, I just know that's what was happening to me. Now, I didn't grow up with Barbie doll, hopscotch, jump rope. My playgrounds were shooting galleries and bars and clubs. All my friends were 15, 20 years my senior. I didn't have to go out and hang out with friends to drink, that peer pressure or whatever at the prom or something like that. I drank in my house, and it was supplied in my house. I didn't have to go out into the streets to look for the extracurricular activity because we were the ones that put it on the street. The very character defects you've asked me to remove around here, I was breeded on them. Okay? You can't survive the world I come from without them. And so my alcoholic life was a normal life, not just for me, but for everybody around me. And this was a way of life. And I was okay with and welcome dying like everybody else in my family. You die from the cirrhosis of the liver, kidney failure, falling down, cracking your skull, ODing, or getting shot. When you die in my family, you put your drink or the drug of choice in the coffin with you, and we take pictures. That's just the way we die. And so we celebrate death and we cry when a baby is born. I never thought about changing that life. I didn't consider that there was something wrong with that life. I didn't question it. I didn't debate with it. I didn't doubt it. I didn't have any other point of reference to tell me that something was wrong with that. I also went to Catholic school. I put a uniform on and a smile on my face, and I said the Our Father and the Hail Mary. I did my confession on Saturdays, and I took my communion on Sundays. We were spiritualists. We had African, spiritual ceremonies, and we would communicate with ancestors and spirit guides, and none of the ancestors, spirit guides, or deities said that something was wrong with what my experience was. And that even solidified and validated that this was a normal way of life. Now, I'm going to tell you what I believe alcohol saved me from. Because I don't know if alcohol spoke to you, but it spoke to me. And it told me if nobody loves you, I love you. If nobody wants you, I want you. I will take care of you. I will nurture you. I will soothe you. It's just you and me against the world. And that's really how I lived for 24 years. Alcohol was my friend, my companion, my lover, my nurse. It would bandage me up. It was those 3 monkeys or 4 monkeys. I don't know how many monkeys there are, but I know whatever those monkeys, right? See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, right? It was doing with the monkeys. I don't know. I think that statue. It reminded me of that, right? And so it allowed me to do that. And I was detached and disconnected. I tell people, as horrible as that life sounds, and I got tons of stories. Like when I did my first inventory, my sponsor's mouth dropped. She said, we need a moment of silence. You know what I'm saying? She was like, hold on a second. And believe it or not, my sponsor was like, I know they say anger is a dubious luxury for normal people, but for you, we need to take a second. Because that's how much I thought that was normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and alcohol allowed me to let that be exactly as it was. I didn't cry. I didn't say, please stop. I didn't say, no, no, no. This is the way it is. It gave me tough skin. And I didn't see what they were doing to me. I didn't hear the name calling. I didn't feel the violation. Nothing. That's why I always had a smile on my face. No big deal, man. It's all good. Alcohol told me when to get up in the morning, when to go to bed at night. Where I was going to live, where I wasn't going to live. If I was going to work, if I wasn't. If I was in a relationship, and if I was not, and who I was in a relationship with. It dictated every single area of my life. It was non-negotiable. Nobody and nothing was going to get between me and my booze. Nobody. You can beat me all day long if you like. As long as I'm supplied with my drink, you can do whatever you want. And that's how I live. And I sipped my drinks. I didn't chug a lug. I didn't dance butt naked on tables. I didn't end up on front lawns, right? I didn't understand the one's too many and 1,000's not enough. I never stopped. The well never went dry. I mean, I like the effect produced by alcohol. And I'm restless, irritable, and discontent unless I find the ease and comfort that comes immediately with the first few drinks. Drinks that I see other people drinking with impunity, without impunity, people that I see, you know what I mean, supposedly normal is normal. This is a way of life. And if I'm restless, irritable, and discontent, and I take a sip and I get that ease and comfort, I'm willing to do that despite consequences, circumstances, situations. Consequences don't get my attention. I'm a real alcoholic because despite circumstances and consequences, the last thing I consider is that alcohol has something to do with it. I didn't know that I suffered from a soul sickness or a spiritual malady or I was bankrupt. This is what I do. I understand that what makes me different from the average temperate drinker is that I have an allergic reaction to alcohol. How else would I have survived? If you give an infant alcohol and they don't die because alcohol is poison, but I didn't die. Instead, my body said, feed me, Seymour, and I waited for the next bottle to be filled. So I'm very clear that I suffer from this thing called alcoholism because I survived drinking not only as fetus, but as an infant, and the only thing I ingested was alcohol, and my body never rejected it. And if a day came or a moment came that I wasn't drinking, my mind was going to clearly orchestrate, strategize, and plan how I'm going to do that again, despite what might have happened an hour ago or yesterday, because that's just what it does. And at no time I knew what it was to be uncomfortable in my own skin. I never allowed any room for that to happen. So what happened to me? How did I end up with you? I joke about it, but I'm dead serious. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a witness protection program, or somebody abducted me like aliens and put me on a planet called California, Alcoholics Anonymous, or something like that. The only thing I can tell you is that this is a place that I believe most of us meet, regardless of how we got here. And this is what's a game changer for me. And this is what I consider to be alcoholic torture. Because you see, I wasn't present for any of those other experiences. But around the age of 24, something happened. All of a sudden, I became present for my experience. And I think that's when things change, at least for me. I don't mind doing incomprehensible, demoralizing things when I don't notice. But now I started to notice. And the way I described it is that alcohol betrayed me. It abandoned me. And it left me emotionally retarded with no coping skills. So now I'm present in this thing you call life, and I had never been here. I had never been here. And it scared the living daylights out of me. All of a sudden, I got a heartbeat, as though I was resuscitated. I had been living in a coma. I don't know how to do another 24 hours like that. And now I'm taking a drink and I'm still restless, irritable, and discontent. I got a problem with that. And now no matter what combination, no matter how many sips I took, or no matter how many drinks I took, I was still present for my experience. I saw the look of disgust on my grandmother's face. I noticed that Daddy stopped talking to me. When did he stop talking to me, and why do I care? I wanted to know where everybody was at. I always say this. I remember distinctly, I walked in a bar and they said, look what the trash brought in. And I cannot tell you how long they have been saying that. But I remember the day I heard it. And I tried to laugh it off, but I couldn't shake it off. Something different was something different was jumping off. My bottom lasted 6 months, folks. I started trying everything possible to get flatlined again, and no matter what I did, I was still present for my experience. That's what I call alcoholic torture. I'm drinking because I have to, because it's my oxygen, and it's the only thing that my body knows. That's the only thing I know. And despite that it's not doing anything for me or is not helping me and I'm still restless, my mind continues to tell me that just maybe today is going to be different. And it wasn't. It was like I was in a haunted house or something. I end up doing what I call the aimless walk, the walk with no purpose, no agenda, no destination. It's just a walk. And I ended up in a church. I wasn't looking for that church. And I stepped inside the church and I felt the presence. That's all. And I said a prayer. Perhaps it's different than any other prayer. I know that it came from the depths of my soul. In the 12 and 12, it says, only an act of providence can help a drunk like me. But for the grace of God, I stand before you sober today. I can't tell you that I stood in that church and I was done, or I was surrendered, or I don't have that language, folks. I just know that in that moment, that's where I stood. And what became visible was the window of the grace of God. I could have missed it. That's why I always wish the newcomer the gift of desperation. And when we say let us love you so you can learn to love yourself and to keep coming back, is because we need to take advantage of that window. You know what I mean? There's a window, that moment of clarity, man. And if we don't jump on it, it'll shut. And the disease will take over one more time and act like that never happened. I left there. You know, I said a prayer. What I said was, God, please allow me to feel the peace that I feel in this church inside of me. I wanted one moment for my head to shut up, my skin to stop crawling, and for my stomach to stop turning, man. I always say this, man. I feel like I lost my hustle, yo. I'm trying to get my hustle back. I ain't playing. I'm serious. That was scary. I was like, what's happening? Every time I talk about it, I relive that. That was horrible. That was horrible. Oh, that was bad. I came to Alcoholics Anonymous because you have a tradition. It's called attraction rather than promotion. And my mother is sober and my cousin. And I had went to my father's house. I asked him to help me. And I shared it so I could remember it. You know, I had never asked for help before. And so I believe in that moment God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself, honestly, because I never uttered those words. There's rules where I had come from, and I've had to learn this in Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't ask for help. I'll starve before I ask you for help, because I'm willing to help you. What you need? I'll hook you up. What you want, Susan? What you want? Greg, you want something? I got you. You know why? Because you'll owe me for the rest of your life. You understand? And I'm coming to collect. And when I come to collect, you know what I'm saying? So I'd rather starve than ask for help because I know the rules. And it's because of that, I really believe that something else was happening to me in that moment because I had never said that before. And my father said, with all the love that a father can have for his daughter, he wished he could tie me up and put me in a closet, but he can't. He said, you're standing in the middle of a crossroad. There's 3 directions you're headed. You're so close to them, you could taste them and smell them. And that's jails, mental institutions, and death. But there's another road. It's called recovery. You don't know anything about it, and neither do I. But if you give it a try, and if it doesn't work out, the other 3 will be waiting for you. That fact, I share that. Not for your benefit. Let me tell you, I hope you get it, but I get it. Because every day I stand in the middle of that crossroad. Every single day. Those roads are always there. They may have caution tape. There are no boulders. They are not locked. Every single day I stand in the middle of the crossroad. And he was right. And I invite the newcomer. Give it a try. See what happens. If it don't work out, the other 3 will be waiting for you. Let me tell you, when I go to Puerto Rico and I go to New York, there's some people still hanging out in the same corner. And I can go right back there and hang out with them in that corner like I ain't never left 30 years ago. I got family members that the moment I tell them, let me get one, they're not going to say, no, because you ain't AA. They're going to be like, Mama, you know what I mean? They're going to be like, here. And it's on like popcorn. So I know I can go back at any time. The road less travels. But this one, I ain't never did this one before. And I came to California. My mother picked me up. I detoxed on a Greyhound bus. And I arrived in downtown Los Angeles on March 29, 1990, wearing a size 1 pair of pants, 2 pants underneath, a huge sweatshirt, 4 months pregnant, had a dead baby in my belly, didn't have a heartbeat by the time I got here, my 4th child I had lost. And my mother picked me up and brought me to the rooms. And she dropped me off there and left me there because you told her to. She can't help me. I can't listen to her, you know what I'm saying? I could play her guilt, but I can't listen to her. She already did what she needed to do. That was an attraction. But I remembered you people. I'm so grateful that nobody ever tried to shove a pamphlet down my throat or roll their eyes at me or suck their teeth at me. I would have figured out how to die out there before I proved you're right. I'm so glad they never did that to me. And I got sober at 9604, Crenshaw and Lano. I always say I'm so proud of the breed that I come from, and I hope you feel that way about your home group. We say the newcomer is the most important person, and truly you are. We need you, and we're glad you're here. You remind us that ain't nothing changed. I always tell the newcomer, don't get it twisted. Aside from the fact that I have a political science class that I'm working on right now, and I have to watch current affairs, but usually look, the greatest obsession of any abnormal drinker is to drink like normal people. So I tell people, don't get it twisted. I watch the news because I'm waiting for one day to science to accomplish it. Wait, I'm waiting for one day for science to say they found a way for the alcoholic to drink again. Wait, and I'm serious. Wait a minute. I have to keep saying that a lot. I got to tell myself. Sometimes when they got a pill, I'll be like, what's happening with the pill? What's going on? Anyway, okay. Siéntate, mami. Vente. Sorry. Siéntate. Sorry, guys. Ven para acá. So, mommy brought me into the room, and she dropped me off, and it was the old timers that picked up that basket. So even though the newcomer's important, I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for the old timers. That's why I thank my life, my sobriety, so all those who were here before I got here, including Ann and Lois and Bill and everybody, because I don't know where a drunk like me would go. I don't know what it is I would do. What I come to understand is that I have a spiritual problem and a spiritual malady that only a spiritual solution can resolve. I don't have the capacity to do a self-help program, cognitive therapy. That don't necessarily work for an alcoholic of my variety. It can work for some. So I'm grateful that I was picked up and brought into a place that can only treat and to assist and help what I was, you know what I mean, what I had going on. And that you guys had the message and the roadmap on how to achieve that. And let me tell you, I came here, this was the last house on the block. We've been talking about this, been speaking in meetings. I don't know if I fell in love with Alcoholics Anonymous when I got here, but I know that I was in awe of what you guys were talking about around here. I ain't never seen it before. I ain't never heard this before. I was impressed. I'm also an all or nothing kind of girl. Either I'm in or I'm not. I know we joke about it, and it is a joke. I understand why it happens, but I always say, why join a 12-step program and not do the 12 steps? But I mean, I get it. Why people don't do it? Either I'm going to do this or I'm not. This is the last house on the block. I ain't got no chips in the game. I ain't got no straws to draw. I ain't got no cards on the table. Party's over, yo. I was done, man. If I had another run, maybe I would have took it. If I had another idea, maybe I would have took it. I don't know. Perfect timing. My butt was whipped. It was raw. It was hurting, and I was through. And I came here, and you guys started talking about something. And really, I'm going to tell you, okay, there's a few things. I got a few minutes. I'm going to tell you what my experience is because it's been the foundation of my recovery for 30 years. I got sober around these people. Okay, this is the way I describe it. It's the way Bill saw Ebby. Like I'm telling you, I had the same experience. It was what Bill saw in Ebby that got his attention. Do you know what I'm saying? This is his drinking buddy, right? My mom used to drink, my cousin. I come in this room and I'm listening to you people, but I see something in you. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is, but I don't know what it is. It's kind of like, I didn't go, I don't know what this is. So I was like, what is that? What is that? And you began to tell me. You drank like I drank. You had a relationship with alcohol like I did, and you began to explain to me that it was an illness. It wasn't because I was incompetent. Had nothing to do with my resume. Had nothing to do with my IQ. That I had an illness. And it needed to be treated. And it's an illness that's quite interesting. It's the only one that convinces me that I don't have it. It's the only one that will plot and plan and connivingly figure out ways to build up a case to prove that I don't have it. I tell people, I'm scared. Are you scared? I don't know about y'all, but that was scaring me. I was like, say what? Wait. I was like, that's, okay, I've been sharing this a lot. As you can tell, I'm not yelling. I'm just talking. Okay, I'm very Latina. I tell people, when I get quiet, that's when you should get nervous. So, as long as I'm doing this, we all good, right? Yes, I'm very dramatic. If you ever watch the Spanish channel, you don't even have to speak Spanish to know what's going on, okay? And so, that's how I was. I came in the program, and I was like, what's happening? What are you saying to me right now? Hold up a second. You trying to tell me that I have this thing called a what? An allergy? I'm telling you, that's how my business I've been here. Like, what's going on? Not only that's happening to me, that's been happening for generations of my family. Nobody knows that. We didn't know that. That's what that was. And then you telling me that the very mind, the very mind that tells me, I plot and I plan. So the very mind that puts me in the situation is going to incognito way prove that I don't really need to be in that situation and that I can get myself out of the situation. But all along, it's planning on how to keep me in the situation. You call that a peculiar mental twist. I never heard that before in my life. I was like, I'm scared. Are you scared? That's scary. Am I being overly dramatic? That's scary. I'm sorry. I'd be like, lock the door. We safe for an hour and a half. I was like, you mean to tell me? I still trip out on that. Hold up. So, okay. That's scary. So I cannot rely, they call it on the thinking. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't listen to myself because myself sounds really good. Like, you know what I mean? It sounded very profound. I couldn't listen, so I had to listen to you. And that's what I did. I started listening to you people. I didn't listen to what my head was telling me because everything my head was telling me, I can't differentiate the true from the false, right? I don't know the difference. I'm looking at the world. I'm telling you, I listen to you people. I'm looking to the world through a pair of glasses, and the glasses are driven by fear and resentment. I don't know about you guys, but I ain't never heard nothing like that before. I was like, what? I never heard nothing. I have resentment. And I was like, yo, I come from a world that I don't even know about resentment. You know why? Because I come from a world that if you do something to me, we just cut off your legs. I don't need to be resentful. We handled it. You know what I'm saying? We addressed the issue. But you were telling me that I'm carrying stuff. Oh, my God. So I got excited. I got excited because I was like, okay, I want to see what you guys are doing here, what this means, what this is all about. I also learned about this power. You guys talked about a power, and I've been sharing this a lot lately. You guys talked about a power that was different than any other higher power I had ever known. I've had a lot of higher powers in my life. I love how people say I'm powerless over people, places, and things. I'm not powerless over people, places, and things. I'm powerless over my alcoholism that tells me I got power over people, places, and things. Okay? And I put this, me playing God, deciding who's going to be my higher power to get me what I need and what I want and tell me I'm in control, but I'm not in control. I'm not in control. So I believe in all these finite powers, and I get short satisfactions, which set me up to believe that I still have more control, but I don't. And so I've had a lot of higher powers: relationships, alcohol, extracurricular activity, jobs, money, job titles, clothes, all kinds of stuff. And all those things were on the outside. And you told me that the power that you found was somewhere that I never thought to look, let alone think I even had access to. And that was the power inside of me. Now, check this out. I don't know about you. That was a big deal to me. This woman, Marcy, said, Theresa, you got a beautiful light inside of you, and we just got a clean house for that light to shine. That God don't make no junk. You said deep down inside in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. It lived inside of me. And I get emotional when I said it, because that might not be a big deal to you, but it was to me. Are you telling me that all my life I've reached outside of myself? All my life I believed the narrative, the lie. I was driven, right? I had no permission for people to violate me. I had no permission. Nobody asked my permission to drink. You know what I mean? It was like I had been robbed of something I had never known. That I had something beautiful all along inside, covered up with actions of others, of people's defects of character, of calamities of life, all along, and just stuffed and stuffed. And you guys had a roadmap. You had a roadmap on how I was going to go in there and I was going to find this treasure. That treasure I didn't even know I had. I was looking for it outside. And literally, that's what I've been doing for 30 years. I was like, I'm telling you, I've been like, what? Oh my God, it's inside of me. That you had tapped into a source of power that was different than any other power. And this recently has really come up for me lately. That I didn't realize it. That's why they tell you keep coming back. You know that it didn't occur to me that one of the other things that impressed me about the power that we find around here was that this power needed my permission in order to participate. What? Now that's a power. To me, that's a power. Needed my permission. How does it get my permission? I make a decision. I never been able to make a decision. I now make a decision to align myself with this power. That's all I got to do is a mustard seed of willingness. And I align myself with this. This power is not a puppeteer like all the other powers that I have. I'm not a chess piece in a game. I like that power, folks. I dreamt of that power, and I wondered about that power. I felt about that power. I didn't know how to obtain the power. I looked for it in a bottle, in you, and in people. But you found it, like the genie in the bottle. You have to open it. And I took these steps, and I began to uncover, discover, discard, uncover, discover, discard. Getting rid of, you know what I mean? Just getting rid of. Has it been uncomfortable? Yes. Is it painful? Yes. In the 12 and 12, it says, all 12 steps are contrary to your natural desires. I've done the uncomfortable until it became comfortable. I've done worse, chasing that other higher power. I'll be uncomfortable here. The reward is far greater. What is the reward? This power that I have found here has empowered me, as opposed to the other higher powers have robbed me of my spirit, of my life, of my dignity, stripped me of everything, non-negotiable, held me hostage. This power empowers me to become a woman of dignity, of integrity, as I watched in you, of self-respect. I become a daughter, a sister, a friend, a neighbor, productive member of my society. I become a human being rather than a human doing. Sign me up, yo. Let's do this. And just like I didn't let nobody get in between me and my booze, I don't let nobody get in between me and my recovery. This is the most important thing to me. I went through treatment. I see some treatment facilities. I went through treatment. I didn't like it. I don't like being in a house with a bunch of women. I'm the only queen in my house. I don't like dealing with other people's drama and all this kind of stuff. I didn't like it. But it wasn't meant for me to like it, because I don't want to go back there because I don't like it. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not doing this again. That's number one. That's what I'm doing now in school. I have to say that as a side note. I go to school now, I'm 55, and they were like, no, some students repeat this class again. I'm like, I'm not doing this again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing this again. We're going to get it now. You understand me? I'm not coming back here. I'm 55. Anyway, that's how I was in treatment. I'm not doing this again. And then people will be talking to me, even in the meetings and the treatment, talking about homegirl's outfit and gossiping. I'm like, don't talk to me about homegirl's outfit, okay? I'm going to go back out and drink and end up in the dope house talking about her outfit. Help me to understand what step to use so I can deal with her outfit. Don't be talking to me about that. I can't afford to go back to that life. I'm not going back there. And you ain't going with me either. I've gotten better. I've calmed down. Really, I'm just sharing with you. I've really calmed down. I used to go around in meetings going, excuse me, you talking. I can't hear the speaker. Okay, I'm dying. All right? And you're not going to go out with me, so I need you to be quiet. I've gotten better. Now I just give you looks. No. Now I just be like. Anyway. And so this power that I found here, I'm like, okay, now that I continuously am cleaning house, cleaning house, cleaning house, what will you have me be? What will you have me do? You give me an assignment. You give me a purpose to stay sober and carry the message. I have a purpose to stay sober, carry the message. That's my purpose. I have a new employer and a new director. Well, wait a minute. In a way, I was doing that with the other higher powers, but my goodness, I never really got paid. You know what I'm saying? But this one, I get overpaid. And I say, what will you have me do? What will you have me be? I have a staff meeting every morning, okay? Because my employer, I call it a staff meeting, okay? And we wrap it up at night, and in between the day, we chit-chat, just like any job, right? And I have been the caretaker, caregiver to most of my perpetrators and my abusers. Okay? I've been through a lot in 30 years. I'll wrap up like this. Let me tell you, I have not had 30 years where I got sober and everything was great, and I got a house and a picket fence. I don't know what people do. You know, like, you mostly see it on Facebook. Everybody's having a nice time on Facebook. Every time I look at Facebook, I gotta do an inventory. Everybody's having fun. But then they call you and they're about to jump over a bridge or whatever, okay? My life hasn't been all exciting. Okay? I've had death. I've had to deal with death. I've had losses. I've had money, no money. But there's something that's been consistent despite this drama of life. I've been saying this, man. I may not know a lot of things that's going on. I may not be clear on my assignment of that day. I may not know if you love me. I may not know if my bills are going to get paid or where I'm going to work or where I'm going to live. But there's one thing that I know, that I'm an alcoholic, and that's my anchor. That is my anchor, because there stems everything. Because that I know I'm an alcoholic, immediately I know I need to be restored to sanity. I need to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. I need to do those steps in between so that sanity can return. I'm in alignment with this power, and then I can deal with the drama of life. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. If you knew, I don't know what the heck you're going to do. That's what the old timers told me. I don't know what you're going to do. But this is what we've done. And if alcohol is through with you, and if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, good old ass whooping and it ain't working no more, we got the roadmap. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable. But you don't have to do it alone. But you see, God is a show-off. He takes a girl like me, unloved, unwanted, unnecessary, and insignificant. And people just like you, all the I call the land of the misfits, picks me up, dusts me off, and builds me up so you can see what he could do. Can't take any credit for it, can't even pat myself on the back, just a mustard seed of willingness. And I say, if this power can do this for me, not if I can do it, you can do it. I say, if this power that I found here can do that for a woman like me and so many like you, could you imagine? Could you imagine if you knew what it can do for you? If nobody told you they love you today, I do. I want to thank you so much for allowing the God in you to help discover the God in me so that I in return can do the same for others. I do not know how not to give this program away, and I want to thank you so much for allowing me to do so. Thank you, thank you, thank you.